Did Matt Reeves tip his hat at a second season of The Penguin? Hey everyone, this is Digital Charcuterie. Thanks for stopping by. If you like The Penguin, looking forward to the Batman Part 2, a huge fan of DCU, hit that subscribe button because I talk about it all the time on this channel. And if you've been on this channel, you know that I love The Penguin, covered it every week. Had so much fun with the show, thought it was fantastically produced, written, directed, and acted, the whole 9 yards on that show. I just thought it was spectacular from start to finish. I really enjoyed it. Ratings went up every week. People seemed to enjoy it. And every week we kept hearing rumors and speculation that Matt Reeves and Lauren LaFranc were talking with HBO about doing another season or possibly spin-off shows. Spin-off shows to me seem the most realistic, right? Like that's really what you thought. Like this was supposed to be a one-off show, a limited series, and it really felt that way when it, you know, the beginning and the end of it, it kind of felt limited in a lot of ways, and it leads into the Batman Part 2, and obviously we don't know where Oz Cobb is going to find himself at the beginning of that movie, which of course is the gateway, the entry point into the Batman Part 2. And I gotta say, stopping right here, there might be some spoilery content coming up about the Penguin series. So if you haven't seen it, hit the pause button, go back, watch it. I'll see you in just over 8 hours. I might not also go into the spoilers. There might be no point to it, but just a fair warning in case I do. Also, if you haven't checked out Holy Christmas Batman from my friend Brian Royer, link in the description below. It is a jolly good time. With all that out of the way, gonna talk now about this Variety article that's come out, and it's Matt Reeves and Zoe Kravitz, and they've both been talking with each other, did an interview style with one another, and they ask questions about their movies, their respective films, and they have a good conversation. It's quite an interesting article. There might be a video. I don't know. I didn't watch it. I just read it. That's what I did. I read it. And I read this thing, and I was like, it was a pretty good read if you like filmmaking and the ins and outs of it. It's a nice little read. But at the end, of course, they got to bring it right back to Batman because that's the connection between the two. They do talk a little bit about how they first met, about her portraying Catwoman in the Batman, their first meeting, their second meeting, and how she actually wasn't given a script for the Batman. She was wasn't given a script off the bat for the Batman. She was kind of told about the world, the environment that it was all set in, how Gotham City was, and she was told all about that aspect. So that when she was given the script, she had a better understanding of everything around Catwoman, around Batman, around the world. And so she was able to kind of have a different view of it. Whereas if you just read that script not knowing what the idea was around it, it might not read very well. Who knows? I haven't read the script. You can buy it on Amazon. I haven't got it. Christmas is coming. If anybody wants to pick me up the Batman screenplay, it is on my wish list on Amazon, but I've never shared that with a soul. Anyway, so at the end of it, I mentioned a few things. Let's bring it up right here. Reeves, yeah, we're finishing the script. We're going to be shooting next year. Obviously, this is in regards to the Batman Part 2. Kravitz replies, and more of these shows. Everyone's freaking out over the Penguin. And I think a lot of people were. Reeves, yeah, we're talking to Lauren, the showrunner, Lauren LaFranc, about doing another season. That was a special experience. I just feel really fortunate. These characters don't belong to me. They belong to the world. It comes down to whether you can approach them in a way that expresses something personal. So he doesn't come right out and say this is season 2 of The Penguin. It almost kind of at the end there, it's almost maybe like there's something else that they might do, which leads me to believe there's other characters in the Batman Part 2 that they can shift to the forefront of a series and maybe make it more of a spin-off of not just the Batman, but of the Penguin. So it relates to the Penguin. You get Colin Farrell back maybe in a limited role in another limited series to kind of lead the audience into this next season. Or maybe it is another season of the Penguin. If they're going down these routes that they kind of hint at, Mayor Oz Cobb and whatnot, or other aspects of him in the life of crime, in the organized crime, going up the ranks even further. I don't know. Politics seems to be very, very, very well hinted at in that series. So you kind of feel like maybe that would be an approach for them to go in the second season. But of course, that would mean that would have to have a very different feel than the first season. That Goodfellas feel, the Sopranos feel that everybody compared it to would have to be gone in order for it to have more of a political, maybe thriller aspect to it going on, which I really think Harvey Dent is the one that if I don't know if he's in it or not, I do feel like the entry point, like when they keep saying the entry point, Penguin is the entry point into the Batman 2, after we see everything was going on now, I kind of feel like Harvey Dent is involved in some capacity. And I'm not saying he's Two-Face or will be Two-Face or not, but Harvey Dent in some capacity, I feel like is going to be at play in the Batman Part 2 because of what we're hearing. And this is, look, I still think Court of Owls, Hush is a big possibility, Mr. Freeze, all that. But I think Harvey Dent as a character makes a lot of sense when you hear what they are establishing and what they have established and what they're walking into. I feel like that could. So Harvey Dent, like another season, could heavily involve someone like Harvey Dent, maybe with Penguin, maybe, putting Penguin on trial, something to that respect. You could see a lot of that. So a political thriller that way, a courthouse drama thriller, maybe if you want, kind of like the Joker do too. They could just make it a musical. No, but you could, I'm just joking, but you can make, you can make that happen there. So I think there's a lot to play with, of course, with the Penguin going forward that we haven't seen. But the thing is, the Penguin was so specific. It was such a great show because of the genre it was in. So if you switch genres, it's tough because now you have to convince your audience that, come along with, trust us on the ride. And I think people would trust at the beginning. But then you have to follow through on that. And that's, obviously that's what the show runs for. And Lauren the Frog, I think, like blew the doors off of this thing. It was just like phenomenal work on the series. Just a great show, right? The Penguin was just so great. I don't think anybody disliked it. It's not for everybody, obviously, but it was a very solid show at the end of the day, the way they handled everything. The other aspect is, of course, Sofia Gigante, right? Like there was that little tweet a little while ago from My Time to Shine. Hello, how Sofia Gigante Falcone at the time was going to have a large role in the Batman Part 2 and lead into the second season. So the second season of Penguin, they asked Christina Milotti about this recently, and she was like, yeah, I want to do it, obviously. Let's see how she reacts to what Oz did. So there is like that. You could always bring Sophia back, but for me, that's caution, because Sophia was, the breakthrough of the series, but that's lightning in a bottle, right? Like if you bring how many times can you bring Sophia back to have her wage a war against Penguin, where you were just kind of like, okay, we're doing this again. So you have to find a different dynamic for that to occur. Now you could have her in a different situation altogether. I think her relationship with Catwoman is something that very much intrigues me, what they're going to do, because they can break away from obviously what happens with them in the comics if you deal with more of what they're dealing with with the film and those storylines there. So I'm really intrigued to see where they go with that. You have the Julian Rush aspect. Is he Scarecrow? Is he not Scarecrow? That whole thing. So there's a lot you can play with in the Penguin world without even having to even utilize the Penguin, really. But I don't know. Whatever it is right now in my head, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. If I'm off my rocker, I might be. But Harvey Dent really seems to be like, for some reason lately, I've been being pulled in this Harvey Dent direction. And again, I'm not saying Two-Face. I don't even know if he will be Two-Face, could become Two-Face. But also a part of me is like, well, maybe he is Two-Face. Maybe Two-Face is already Two-Face in this world, and Maroni turned him into that before Maroni died. But I don't think so. I think it would be Harvey Dent, and he'll just be Harvey Dent. And he could become Two-Face, and the series could be about him becoming Two-Face, even with Penguin around or whatever. I don't know. But I'm excited that there's, look, the thing is, I did a video on this a little while ago where Matt Reeves, when the Penguin ended, he's like, yeah, we talk about it. But I was like, I was very optimistic about it, obviously. But also in the back of my mind, I'm like, are they really taking this seriously, though? Like, it was a limited series and all. Are they worried about, is he working on the Batman Part 2? Which, by the way, in this conversation with Zoe Kravitz, he does say again, he's still working on the script. So the script is still being worked on. I think in September, when he said the script was in, I think he did submit a script. And I think James Gunn and Saf, I think James Gunn specifically said, this is good, but you can do better. And I think he's challenging Matt Reeves to do better. And I think they have a very, and I don't say that like they're butting heads. I think that they both will challenge each other creatively in a good way. Like they're making a dynamic duo movie. They're both producing that movie together. I think they're going to work well together, and they respect each other. And because of that, they're going to bounce ideas off. So I think they're going to be strong. Like I think like James Gunn is going to push, and that's his job now, right? Is to make sure that these movies are the best that they can be. And so I really believe that's going to be fantastic. But now look, now that he said this in this article, in this interview with Zoe Kravitz, it just feels like it's real. Like they're really going to try to come up with another series for HBO about Penguin, probably in some capacity involving the Penguin. But they're not going to force it, but they're seriously going to consider it, and they're going to look at all aspects of what they have to get there. And that, to me, is like brilliant. I think it's brilliant. I think they could do so many villains in the style. I did a video on that as well. You could check out. I just think, I think HBO knows that they need to do it. Like, they'd be dumb not to, but it's up to the creatives to have an idea, because you don't want to do it for the sake of doing it. You want to do it because you have a story to tell. And that's kind of what he's saying here. It's like, well, we're going to have something, we're a slave to this world. But the good thing about this world is it's very, very intriguing, with arguably the most intriguing villains in comic book history. I'd say Batman, Spider-Man, your top two for villains, I think, all around, like the whole encompassing. I don't even know if that's an argument to be made against that. But those are the top two for sure. So you have like that whole rose gallery you can use, and then you have all like the B, C, D listers that you can pull at and bring in and utilize in other ways if you wanted as well. But of course, the caveat is you got to stay away from what Gunn is doing with the DCU side of it, with the main timeline. He's in Elseworlds, your main time. You don't want to cross the streams too much there. But I like this comic excited. I want to do a video on it. I want to know what you guys think of it in the comments down below. I really appreciate you guys spending some of your day with me. Thank you so much. Give us a like and a subscribe. And until next time, may be the master of your own universe.